Evan joins us via phone. He's the CEO of Black Rifle Coffee, blackriflecoffee.com. And they do have good coffee. Evan, thanks for joining us. How you doing today, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing great, considering, we went through the cancel culture left and right over the weekend. It's a pretty interesting weekend.
Yeah, I could imagine. I saw that you guys finally were just like, we're just going to just copy and paste this response, because all of these people were going at you. Well, first off, you were accused of sponsoring Kyle Rittenhouse. Is that how sponsorships work? I mean, I don't even know. I seriously doubt that you.
Yeah.
That talk to me about that, because I thought that was so crazy.
Well, that was the thing, right? Which is, there was this thousands and thousands of people tweeting, retweeting, and sharing that we had sponsored Kyle Rittenhouse, and I wanted to make sure, because what was happening, there was con and pro, so both left and right. So you had some guys on the right that were like, "That's awesome, that's great, great way to go, guys." And I wanted to tell everybody, just no, okay, we have to get our facts right, because I truly believe that transparency in these situations is the ultimate form of logic. And when I said that, I was like, you guys, we don't sponsor him, we don't have a relationship. And that was really what I didn't want, nor was I comfortable with, was people believing that we were trying to capitalize on what I do really feel is an American tragedy. It is, regardless of what people think. Anytime Americans die and anytime you take life, that is a very specific and tragic event in our history and in multiple individuals' lives. So I'm not in the business of being a tragedy merchant. That was the one thing I wanted to tell everybody. Like, I'm not in the business of doing this. One, it's factually incorrect. Two, I don't want anybody to misinterpret this as I would be capitalizing on it.
Right.
And I thought that the right would just say, "Oh, dude, we get that. Okay, cool." No, I was fundamentally mistaken. I was very mistaken.
It seems like there's not a lot of room for nuance, and it's something that has kind of aggravated me for a little bit, because and I can already imagine, like, just from what you said, me listening to what you said, if I wanted to play devil's advocate, I could say, well, so you're saying that Kyle Rittenhouse was in the wrong. You're not even, and I'm not even going to play the game where I'm going to demand that company heads start immediately taking a line on legal issues, especially when, we all have our opinions about it. I've made mine incredibly clear, but I'm not going to turn into the left and start demanding that everybody bake me a damn cake. I'm just not going to do that. And it just doesn't make sense to me. But I understand what you're saying, because you did have those accusations. Like, I can't believe that you're using what happened here, as a form of marketing. And I saw there was one woman's tweet I came across. She was an older woman who was saying, "I can't believe this company is using the dangerous position this young man is in to market themselves." And that's, I'm like, and so I see where you're coming from with that. When you saw people that were on our side, and these were people who previously, because this is like what, the third or fourth time that people try to cancel your company, right? When you saw people
it wouldn't be a good year without this happening. Like, I made it this far in 2020. I'm surprised it didn't happen earlier.
Well, exactly. But the people who are usually like our natural allies, and they were saying that you bent the knee or something, which I don't know. Maybe there was something where I didn't see anything that you had said that would actually satisfy that definition. What are they talking about? What do you make of that?
Oh, it's on the far left and it's on the far right, which is, if you don't directly represent their viewpoint, they're going to say that you bent the knee, right? So they're going to try to essentially extort you on your business or whomever it is to make sure that you're propagating exactly what they believe. So, like, what I believe, right, is I don't think the mob should be making legal decisions either, right? I truly don't. I think Lady Justice is blind for a reason. And people are like, well, that's a sellout. I'm like, no, I think one of the problems we have in social media is we collectively on both sides, we start to spin each other up and grind each other out in these echo chambers. And I'm just going to refuse in some of these circumstances when I don't know enough about it. So a lot of people were like, well, how could you not know anything about this? I'm like, you guys, I'm in the middle of holiday season. I work, 12, 15 hours a day. I have 400 employees.
You have a business
I
during a
apologize. I
lockdown
just
period.
haven't put my finger on the.
Yeah.
I just haven't put my finger on the pulse of this, so I don't want, I just didn't want anybody to think that we were sponsoring him. But wow, and I think, if you don't have an opinion, then you're a fence straddler. Like, everybody wants you to take a side. And I'm like, I take a side on the Constitution. That's the side that I'm going to take. I'm a huge proponent of the Second Amendment, and I have been from day one. Like, I started roasting coffee on the back tailgate of my government truck with a SBR when I was teaching former special operations guys to shoot more effectively 6.5, 7 years ago. And I mean, from day one, I'm looking at my company, looking at the people, where I've been the only openly conservative, beating the drum for having kind of conservative ideals, meaning smaller government, these really foundations of kind of conservative politics. I've been beating these drums for, 6+ years. I was selling coffee to gun stores when that was the only place that would buy my coffee. And so now you've got fringe elements now that are saying, like, oh, well, you're a sellout.
Oh, they say, I mean, people send me screenshots and say he's an act blue, Obama loving Democrat who actually hates the Second Amendment. That's what
right.
Those people tell me.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I've talked about this on my podcast for years, which is I'm a pretty hardcore conservative, and I have been for a long time, the majority of my adult life. And it's fairly easy, which is back in 2008. And it is like when that Obama $500, there's an Obama $500 contribution there, I lost a bet. And the guys on my team said, we're going to sit here and watch you donate. But you can see the McCain offsets in there. So it was a joke. I've talked about it on my podcast for years. It was a joke that literally I had to do this because I lost a bet back in 2008. And the other one was a Tulsi Gabbard donation, which was, from my perspective, she was a vet and she was getting railroaded out there by her own party. So I'm a veteran rights advocate. I talk about veteran rights all the time. And, I also donate to a lot of PACs. I donate to a lot of very conservative organizations, but I'm never going to hide who I am. Like, I've made a lot of conservative donations over the past several years, but to think that I'm some hidden, DNC guy is ludicrous. Like, it's absolutely ludicrous. And I actually don't mind telling these stories because I think it helps people understand. Like, for the majority of my life, I was carrying a rifle for a living overseas. Right. And I never thought that people were going to be, dissecting whether or not I'm contributing to one party or the other. And I think it just kind of goes back to my company is full of a wide variety of people. Black Rifle Coffee is an homage to our service rifle. And we really try to be as representative as we can in our mission, what we do every day. We have, buy a bag, give a bag, going on right now where we're contributing a coffee. Every coffee that you buy, we contribute one to go overseas. But like to be accused now as like 43 years old that I've been like essentially lying to my entire family and my business partners and everybody, it's crazy. And then I've seen a bunch of other things out there where people are directly fabricating information. It's like
I don't see that you ever came out either against, and I don't know what your opinion is on the Rittenhouse thing. And that's not why I had you on for this, because I like to be consistent with stuff. And I feel like this is all getting incredibly Orwellian. And also kind of Portlandia, where we have to do research on every single product before we make a purchase. Because, I mean, I have my thoughts on the Rittenhouse thing. I thought, while he was, I'm a mother and I have a 17-year-old son, and I would never let my 17-year-old son, even though he's, he can actually range boss. He's incredibly good. He's a great marksman. He's incredibly responsible. And it's not about that. It's about the liability that you're causing someone that young to assume if something like that happens. And I just think that that's irresponsible. I feel like he acted in self-defense, and that was justified because he had two adults, one of whom was a prohibited possessor who was attacking him. And I thought he showed good
Right.
judgment with that regard. I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, Evan, I need you to agree with me right now, or we're just going to have to put you on a rhetorical pyre and set you aflame. I feel like that's kind of antithetical to what we do. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think one, for a wide variety of reasons, is it's important for me to kind of put this out, which is I do believe in the right to defend yourself. I do believe in our right for the Second Amendment. I do believe that we don't need any additional gun laws. We need to retract gun laws. Like, I think there's a lot of really intrusive government acts right now today that are impeding on our civil liberties and our right to bear arms. Like, that is a fact.
Yeah.
That is where I stand. That's where my company stands. And when I look at this, I say I believe that the video that I saw, it directly represents this kid needed to defend himself, and he had every right to do that. And that's what I'm saying in the sense of what video I saw, I do believe he had every right to defend himself. Outside of that, that's the only perspective that I've seen. I've listened to a lot of people talk about it now. And I think that it's, I think ultimately the courts will determine, and I think we have to have faith in the courts that he will be ultimately set, when I say he'll be presented as innocent. And I say, I don't know innocent as far as like the entirety of it, because who knows exactly what.
I think the only thing they would get him is like on a misdemeanor for being, being under 17 or being the age he is under 18 without supervision with a rifle, which, that's a whole other thing. But I mean,
that's a whole other
right.
thing. And but the big ones, right? I think that he will be cleared of those. Like the big charges, I think he will be cleared of those. I
Right.
hope that he is, because what I've seen is that he needed to defend himself. He was under he had to defend himself, because I think that there was direct jeopardy in his life. Like, there was no doubt in that video. There's zero doubt. I think that there were a lot of people out there doing a lot of very obviously violent, inappropriate things. And when I say inappropriate, like the mob violence, we as a society have to condemn that.
Right.
And then when people protect their property, I do think that there's a huge sway on a section, especially on the left, is they'll jump in and they'll condemn. And the instant that they go to this rhetoric of this kid is, a white supremacist or something like that,
it's
you
ridiculous.
automatically go, oh my gosh, here we go again.
Yep.
You guys have the same position over and over and over again.
We're unfortunately out of time here. My producers are kind of in my ear telling me that
sorry.
we got no. But Evan, first off, I want to say I'm glad that you came on air, because a lot of people were saying things, and you guys have always been so incredibly transparent about stuff, and I think it was kind of unfair how y'all been treated. BlackRifleCoffee.com. It's we drink it in my house. We're going to continue drinking it in my house. I'm proud to support your business, a veteran-owned business, and I think that people need to start giving a little bit of a little grace and a little benefit of the doubt, because you've been allied with us, and you've gone out and you've proven it in more than one way. Let's just put it like that. But I appreciate your time coming out on this, and I hope that people remember y'all when they need some coffee.